This is a fun demo of using the tools, all handmade by me, that I actually show in the video. So come on into my art studio and let's play together. Hello, my name is Cheryl Wilson and I'm an abstract artist. And this week I wanted to share with you a little bit of behind the scenes of where and how I create my art. I have a space that I just absolutely love, my art studio. I have it in my home. And in there are shelves and shelves of paint and mediums and markers and brushes and so much more. So, I wanted to share with you some of the things in my studio that mean the most to me. These are some palette knives, and they are a staple in my studio. Brushes are another staple. I have way more brushes than one girl artist should have. I have thin brushes. I have them everywhere. I have them thrown in boxes. I have them in beautiful containers, containers that I have painted, containers that are colorful. I like to surround myself with brushes all around my studio because it's like a spot of inspiration to me. I love big brushes. I love these sash brushes. They add a lot of texture and splat to your art. Of course, there's nothing better than using my hands and my fingers. That's the best tool I think I have in my studio is my fingers. I use a lot of papers. I use a lot of papers that I personally buy. And then I use a lot of papers that I hand make myself. And these are great because I can make them of any color that I want. I can rip them up. I can add them to paper paintings, canvas paintings. And the paint I use there can be high flows, they can be thin bodied, a lot of mediums that I use that add texture, molding paces, etc. I use tube paints, I use paints from a jar. I'm very messy, so you'll see my jars open all over the room and my tubes just in a pile. But that's the way I love it because it gives me such inspiration. And my room and my studio is such a happy place for me. I use a lot of markers. I use graphite. I use black markers of assorted types. I use catalyst and different type of markers with edges. I use pastels. I use oil pastels. I will use markers of things that I've made. Like these are stamps that I made. I will use sponges. They add such incredible texture to my art, the different types of sponges that I get a hold of. I love inspirational books. I have two places in my home. One is my office, one is where I paint, and it's full of books. To show you some of the tools I use. And the important thing is I have all my tools, all my main tools right here on one stand, right beside the easel where I paint. And this first bucket of tools is all my scrapers, my catalysts, markers that have like teeth on them. I get them from all sorts of paint stores. I get them online. The one catalyst, they're kind of expensive, but they're great. That's just something from the hardware department. That is an actual catalyst. It's one of the more expensive ones. But each of these tools you can get from Amazon, you can get from the Goodwill, you can get from the hardware store, Lowe's, Home Depot, places like that. This is my bucket of palette knives of different types. The reason why I have so many is because I did at one time have an outside studio, so I had double. But they're different styles, different ones, different edging on them. Some are large, some are small, some have a pointed end. That just kind of got stuck in there, but they each have some of them are the same. That one has like a scallop edge. Then this bin is quite a large. It is like the mother load of my bins there. The tools that are in here again come from all different places: plumbing store, hardware store. A lot of them are somewhat the same. There's a squeegee that I use to move paint around. Some of these are handmade, and I'll show you. There's large bubble wrap that I use. There's a small piece there, small bubble wrap that I use. That's like an egg turner, but it also moves the paint really well, especially on some of the flow art. That's just like a paper towel holder. That is one tool that smooths the paint. A lot of times that gives you a really good effect. That's a handmade tool, and there is a whole video on tools, and that's in there, but that's made with neoprene, I think you call it. There's a paper towel holder with rubber bands around it, and that gives a very unique look. There is some more of those. I use this a lot. Those teeth where I do like a circular spiral is in a lot of my paintings. That's just a stick. Sticks are great. Another spatula that kind of got put in there, then out of my spatula bin. That's just, I don't know what that's from, but I think I have that in my Amazon store, but that's thicker. You can do lines with that, use that to draw lines. This you use to paint your walls, and I haven't opened that yet. I've had that for a while. That has a sponge on it. Not quite sure where I got this one, but it has like metal teeth, kind of sharp metal teeth on there. There is a stick where I put a foam brush on it to give me some more flexibility at a distance. And there's a whole nother bin there, some of the same things. I keep all my thicker body paints here. A lot of my brushes. You see I have a lot of different types of brushes. There's my plein air brushes way up there on the top. Those are really long. Can't find them anymore. There's some more tools. One is like silicone at the top that makes a lot of fun marks, and even when my brushes get too hard, I keep them because they make great tools for marking. There's some spatulas I use, the spoons where you can pour paint on your canvas or just use it to maneuver paint around. Another stick up there. There's some art crayons. There's my water bottles, alcohol bottles. But I keep this whole stand full of my mark making tools. And this is a painting that I created. I actually did it within a time frame of around 30 minutes. And I used only handmade tools that I made myself. And the reason why I did this is I was challenged to create a piece of art based on my intuition, where I've been, and just basically how events in my life have affected me. And for some reason, I've been a homegrown gal, and I am an entrepreneur, and I just tackle everything. The moment I get up in the morning, it's go. I get out of bed, no matter how I feel or how achy I am, I just go. And I think that creating tools that I made myself with my own hands, and then creating a painting with those tools, is just a representation of my entire life. So without further ado, let's get into the video, and I'm going to show you how I made this painting, and I hope you enjoy it. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I hope to keep doing more and more pieces of art like this. First of all, I have sped some of this video up to be able to put this on a challenge site that I did, which doesn't affect what you see when I'm painting. So I'm just kind of like laying out tools that I've made, and I'll put all the descriptions below. And because I'm not going to describe everything while we're going through here, so I'll put some of the descriptions below. I start the page by just putting wet water on the watercolor paper. And this is an 18 by 24 inch Strathmore paper, and I'll put the weight below. So I'm just putting water on it. I don't always add water, but I don't know, for some reason I just felt like water because I just came back from visiting my family down at the beach, and water has been on my mind because I'm a city girl and I love the beach, and I could be in the water any time of the day. This is a sponge that I added a rubber band to, and the paint is actually just Golden's black high flow paint. And I love the way it just kind of like, you know, did its own thing on the paper. And you'll see me dab up some of that water later because I love the look of dabbing the water up with either a baby wipe or a paper towel. There I'm using a stick that I just got from the garden, and I'm dipping that in some Golden's, I think it's Indian yellow or yellow medium, just any colors you want. The colors don't really matter. The paint, like this is not a high flow, it's just a regular Golden's fluid acrylic. I think that matters to you. I'm grabbing a tube there where I've just added rubber bands around it, and I just put some, again, high flow turquoise on some of the rubber band area, and I'm just rolling that onto the paper, letting it blend. The paper is very wet, and I'm just letting it do its thing. Some of the areas where there's more puddles, it's going to blend out more. Other where there's no water, it's just going to make marks. That is a stamp that I made, and I'll put the materials below, and I'll link a link to where some of these tools are, and even a video where I made stamps. But I make my own stamps so that I can have my own mark in my paintings. So this is a stamp I made. You'll see me add a couple different stamps that I love of different shapes. There I'm dabbing up some of the water, and I love how it just it brings it down to the base, but still some of that dirty water look underneath. I just love that look. Now I just turn the paper around just to get a different view of the painting. I do that a lot, even on my very large paintings. I don't create a painting to go one particular way. Sometimes it blends itself to end that way. There I'm making tracks and steps. Steps in my life are very spiritual to me in a way. And that's made from a pie, like a thing that you use to roll out pie dough, and then I just added neoprene and cutouts and stuck them onto the pie roller. And I'm looking there, I have a what do you call that? A sponge, just one of those sponges that I put a big stick on, and I just added some titanium white high flow stamping into the paint, letting it blend into the already wet paint. There's another stamp I made with my tools. Again, I'll link below where you can find how to make those stamps. And this one, I initially did it with the titanium white high flow, and then I wanted more of a print, because eventually that's in the wet, it was going to kind of like mute down more, which is okay, because I never know how the end product is. So I added some more of the Golden heavier paint onto the stamp, and I wanted that to be more of a presence. Anything that is circular or spiral is, again, a spiritual entity for me, and I add the infinity or spirals in just about all pieces of my art. So once again, I'm just putting it in different places. Sometimes it shows up as a slight shadow, sometimes it blends with the other colors, and you can just barely see a hint of the spiral.
So I'm looking at the painting, seeing what does it want. I could have stopped here. I could have stopped here and it could have gotten a mat and then framed, and I could look beautiful in a bedroom or a living room or just wherever it would want to be. But I wanted to add more. I just felt like inside it needed more. So I grabbed a paintbrush. I did not make that paintbrush, so I have to take back that every mark was made by something I made, but this, the marks are made by me. And I'm just going in and adding color where I feel it needs a spot of color. Turning the painting around again. I'm looking at the fact that I have all different shapes. I have round shapes. I have odd shapes. I have square, triangular. So I'm adding line with that like Indian yellow. That's a grease pencil, and I'm just scribbling. You see that I'm just actually letting the grease pencil guide me as to where it goes. I love scribbles. I love graffiti, which is kind of like a writing. I love scribbles, and a lot of times I'll just leave the scribbles as they are. Then sometimes, you know, I will hide them under an additional layer of paint here and there. There, I'm just splattering some of the titanium white high flow. I do that a lot. I love splatters. A lot of my marks are larger, so that kind of gave me a way to add some smaller looking type dots into the painting. I'm rubbing in some of the paint in different areas so that it's a more organic overall look to painting. And I'm thinking I want to add some ultramarine blue, so I grabbed some bubble wrap and I just apply some of that ultramarine blue to give it more of a pop. I'm looking at areas where it may be more muted and it might need pop. I'm looking at the fact that some of that blue looks good next to the yellow. And then I'm adding with my fingers. I do that a lot. There, I'm just using the end of that long utensil, and as you notice, the circles are very much circles. I don't like that because everything else in the painting is kind of like, you know, mudged in. So I go in and I mudge more of that color in. It's totally up to you how you would want your painting to be. I'm using a paper towel, or that could be a baby wipe, and pulling some of that blue, make it into like a stain. Again, this is done very fast on purpose. I take risks in this. I'm not being overly cautious. I'm just enjoying what's inside me. And I think that's important to know. Sometimes if you overthink a painting, you're going to overthink each step you do, and you're going to come, you know, the analysis paralysis. So a lot of times I just go for it. I can always cover it up. There's another of the that pie roller where I added some of the high flow white. Just adding tracks. You can see that one spot where it was very dark. It was getting kind of dingy down there, and it just needed a pop of white. And normally in the end of a painting, oh, there's another stamp. That's stamps of lines, and you'll see me again muting that into the painting a little bit more so it's not so stark of a mark. But I always end my paintings with white splashes, either with a palette knife, my fingers, a paintbrush. I always add circles. Many paintings I end at very end with a very long plein air brush, which is a very, very long brush, and just add circles of some type of mark into my painting. So these are marks that I normally make. These are tools that I made. It's just a homegrown painting. So I hope this gives you some encouragement to get out there and create some paintings yourself with some tools that you've made yourself. I think you'll find that you really enjoy the results. Thank you for watching.